No, but after what's happened already, that shouldn't. That
What,
after seeing what's happened after they've gone and got someone else for so much money, they spent 40 million to get him in. You've got to go. Well, maybe you shouldn't have been so quick to get rid of someone who won you a Champions League.
do you mean Tuchel?
Yeah,
You don't think they should have sacked Tuchel in the first place?
I see why they did, but when you look at it now, it's like
Yeah, but
my point
hindsight's
is,
2020.
I'm Potter in because I think just because somebody's not doing well over a little bit of time doesn't mean that the grass isn't always green on the other side. Is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
they're absolutely honking. I mean, right.
No, the case is they need to figure. Potter just needs to figure out his best team. That's what he needs to do because he's got so many good players at his disposal. If he gets his best 11 down, they play 10 games in a row with a similar-ish 11, then they'll be fine. They'll get playing again because they've got the quality.
They've got too many big players for him not to play them all at some point. Because
my point is, I don't think the fault's with Potter. I think it's with the stupid business they've done signing 20,000 players.
well, I'd agree with that, but at the same time, with the quality of that squad, they should listen. I think Potter. Do I think Potter should stay? Well, I think Potter should stay for Arsenal because I don't think Chelsea will do anything. But like last time out, Chelsea lost obviously to Southampton at home, which is mad. They had a 1.56 xG to Southampton's 0.75. Now that shows there are shoots of growth and shoots of promise, but it's still a loss to Southampton at home. They haven't won in like 10 or something. Like they're honking. And Potter's always had a history of underperforming XG because the chances he creates are metric wise are good quality, but are they good quality if they can't convert them ever?
I think that also the problem is they don't really have a proper striker. I don't see a proper striker in that Chelsea team. I think Havertz and Felix are both sort of second strikers, if you want to say that. Aubameyang, I mean, if he played him and it ended up going well, then they'll be like, oh yeah, go for Aubameyang. But it doesn't make much sense to me because I don't really see about what Aubameyang offers here because I don't
Everyone
think
says that, though. And
I don't
I
think
do
the quality's
agree.
that good anymore.
No. I do agree that Aubameyang is an issue wherever he is. But his time at Barca, which people forget is between Arsenal and all that shit show, he showed he's still a really decent goal scorer. So while he may have dropped in other qualities or he doesn't press as much, if you make him happy, he will score goals for you.
I know, but he's also in La Liga now. You've got to take everything with a pinch of salt there because Adama Traore went there for a season or a half a season and seemingly did quite well. And he's been second choice for Wolves for quite a while now. So I know he's come back into the team recently, but I think with La Liga, take it with a pinch of salt. I think Aubameyang is the perfect player for another league in the top 5 leagues. Like I think he'd do brilliantly in
Right.
Liga.
So
I think in the
mate,
Bundesliga, we've already seen he's done brilliantly there. He's done well in La Liga. So something like going to a top Serie A club would make a lot of sense. But I don't see him being a top quality striker anymore for Chelsea. I mean, at the start of the season when we were doing the transfers video and we were going through who Chelsea should sign, I'm now looking back and going, I said Aubameyang, and I'm like, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? He's 30, he's like 32, 33.
I
He's
called it
getting on. He's got a massive wage,
on
and
this channel.
he's not reliable.
All I've said on this channel so far, my prediction has been spot on, and that's all I'm saying with that.
I'm not taking. When you said Basuma is a top 3 defensive midfielder in the league, and
Okay.
he's not even emerged from the shadows yet for Spurs, I'm
He,
not.
yeah, okay.
Oh, you've got to firm that one. That's one that you've got to at least take.
But like, if we go back to Potter, the reason that I'm sort of not the thing is, 2 games ago, 3 games ago, whatever for Chelsea, I was sort of still like Potter's a project manager. You got to give him time. But the more and more I see the debates online about it, I see people saying, well, as one main argument for keeping Potter is like, look at the Arteta model. The Arteta model doesn't count if you can't see the promising shoots in the style that Chelsea play. Chelsea have no identity. With the Arteta model, he always had his game plan, the players that he had, and you could see it. It was very clear. You high press, you play out from the back, you have your inverted fullback. Like, it was always clear. He just didn't necessarily have the players at his disposal to sort of complete those roles to the elite level. Whether that be Partey getting injured, but the actual model and system was always in place. There was always green shoots, even in the 10 games where he didn't win. There was green shoots throughout the squad that you saw things knitting together. I watched that Southampton game with Chelsea, and yes, they have XG and all that. They did have some chances, but I don't see a set philosophy. I don't see any cohesion. And it was said best by, I believe it was Sir Alex, to actually be a successful football club, you need stability right from the top. So even when the boardroom is moving around, every other sort of station, so manager, coaching staff, player staff, whatever, has to have had some form of stability. Otherwise, it'll all fall apart. And because there's no stability in the playing staff at all, there's no stability in the backroom staff because they've got Potter and a whole new thing. There's no stability in the boardroom. Like, for me, they just fall into bits. Chelsea. And Potter's going to end up, he is going to end up being the scapegoat for Bowley. They're going to be like, right, we're giving it him. It's not worked because they've, transfer-wise, been abysmal. Dull as dishwater. No sense. They saw Arsenal signing Mudryk. They were like, right, last minute, let's go and get that. Why? They didn't even target him.
Yeah.
Enzo Fernandez, they were like, oh, shiny new World Cup player. Like, he might be really good, but that's the thought process behind it. Badashile came out of nowhere. They wanted Gvardiol, or whatever his name is, last year.
Yeah, Gvardiol.
There's no sensible joined up thinking at any part of this Chelsea setup, and Potter is probably the most joined up thinking manager you can have.
Yeah,
but he's also never had experience dealing with this level of ego that's in that Chelsea squad, in terms of caliber of player, either like Aubameyang, for example. So he's just not up for the job. So I think because it's Chelsea, if it was any other club, I'd probably say give him time. But because it's Chelsea, the history of Chelsea, getting rid of managers, they need someone like Zidane in there just to sort out the egos and sort out the shit, because they're just not very good.
Yeah, I see what you. When you said that Arteta point, that made me really made me think, because you can't make the comparison, as you said, not only for what you just said then, but with Arteta, when they brought him in, there was one transfer window where he did spend a lot. He spent 200 or whatever it was. But they were all wise transfers, at least the majority of them. There may have been a Tavares here and there or whatever.
Oh, he's doing banging. He's doing banging in the league, and he's got 7 goals.
Which may not have paid off yet, but it was at least wise. And then with Potter, for that to work, I think it doesn't work applying it to Chelsea because they've already got all those egos and all the big money already invested in there. So you can't go and start spending wisely and going small amounts.
It's not even that, though. When we brought in the transfers, on the most part, they were all English. They were all under 24. And I'm not saying like the race, like where they're born matters, but they all had similar outlooks. You'd imagine they all grew up similarly in the same sort of country. Arteta spoke numerous times about the mentality of the players he was bringing in as playing a massive part as to whether they fit the group. Whereas Chelsea have just grabbed shelf, chucked it all together. It's like they've bought 5 jigsaw puzzles, right? And they're like, find a corner piece in that one that fits with that side piece from a different jigsaw. It's just not going to work. But
and they've spent, on Fernandez and Mudryk alone, they've spent as much as you did in your rebuilding transfer window with Arteta. So it's just really reckless. And when you chuck so much money together, it's like it's not always going to work straight away. And that's what
that Tuchel team that Tuchel had, right? Obviously, brought in Aubameyang and then got sacked. But did they even need a January rebuild?
No, I don't think so. Tuchel came in after Lampard, and obviously Lampard had his problems with the transfer ban that they had because of the problems with, I think it was signing too many players under a certain age. But when Tuchel came in, I don't believe Tuchel himself even made that many signings. So it's strange for them to wait. So obviously they've had the takeover, so can't really compare it. But it would, as you say, it would be very easy for Bowley to sack Potter and then blame him after that.
Because they got rid of Tammy Abraham, and now they don't. Now they need a striker. They need a proper striker. Yeah. They brought in Badiashile because they needed a centre half. They used to have Tomori. If they were sensible within their business, they would have only needed to really bring in Enzo Fernandez in January, and they would have been fine. I have to.
I don't even think they needed Mudryk anyway, to be honest. If you look how many wingers they've got at the club, Mason Mount would be one of the better ones to play, not necessarily on the wing, but I think he has to be playing for Chelsea. I think he does because he's one of the players that actually has a bit of passion for the club.
Yeah, but he's honking.
City have had the problem in the past few years at times when we're on a poor run of form, that we don't have because we've brought in so many expensive foreign players that very few of them actually have a pure passion for the club itself. And I think Mason Mount really embodies that for Chelsea.
I agree. And the same for Reece James. But I also think Mason Mount has been honking for like 6 months now. He's horrendous. The issue with Mason Mount is he's got all the facilities to be a very good player because he's a decent goal scorer when he's on form. He's got high energy. His issue is his creative spark is as much as if you put us on a Premier League football pitch. He has nothing vision-wise. He can't create anything. And as a midfielder, that's an issue. If you stuck him on the wing and just said, float a few crosses in now and again, you might get somewhere because it limits his field of view and how he has to connect the whole sort of play style. But he is honking in terms of recent form.
I think they do have to ship off. They do have to, not necessarily specifically talking about Mason Mount here, but they're going to have to ship out quite a few forwards here. Looking at Pulisic, probably Aubameyang. I can see Ziyech going after he just missed out on the PSG move.
How's Ziyech still there? How's Pulisic still there?
I don't know. How
he's still there. Like it was like who's that left back there? Alonso. How the frig was he still there that long? Ruben Loftus-Cheek. How's that guy got a career? He's terrible.
He's starting for them at the moment as well. I don't get it.
About 4 or 5 games ago, he was playing right wing back. I was like, what am I saying? He's horrendous. He wouldn't even get in Burnley's team, and they're in the Championship. He's honking. They just have such like deadwood.
But yeah, there's a big contrast between the big amounts of money. Like with Arsenal, you kind of got rid of everyone you didn't want, Aubameyang, etc., and then spent all the money. But with them, they've not done that getting rid of the dead wood part before spending the money. So now they've just got a massively overvalued squad with so many players, expensive players, players with egos who aren't that good. So there's no wonder it's not working, especially with Potteridge.
You think Todd Bowley knows what sport Chelsea play? Like, as I said,
I hope so. I hope so, but it doesn't know much more than that, I don't think.
You think they've been like...
I bet he knows much more than that.
You reckon some advisor said, you can flip Chelsea in 5 years for like a couple of billion extra, like, get them. And he's been like, what sport do they play? Football. He's like, what's that? Is that egg thing that they play in England? And then he's just slapped down, like, his money. And then he thought they were playing rugby. And the first game, he was shocked. You see that meme of him playing like a video game, like on his phone?
Yeah.
Mid-game. He's just, I don't know. He's got a good sports franchise elsewhere, hasn't he? But I don't know. He's just a state. Like, it's not him a state. Chelsea are in a state. They're what, 9th now?
Similar to, just in the top half.
Liverpool, but Liverpool are in a state for different reasons.
The thing is as well, while Liverpool are in a state, I actually see them turning it round more than Chelsea, just because they've got the same group of players that they had before. And I think if they get it all together, they've shown great. I think they've shown a bit more promise recently against Newcastle. I know Newcastle are off form more of recent games anyway, but I think Liverpool have got all the tools there with a certain amount of players coming back from injury to actually be able to bolster themselves up the table. Whereas Chelsea, this is the finished product for Chelsea pretty much. I know they've got to develop it. Their players have got to get used to the Premier League more than new signings. But God knows when that'll happen. Liverpool getting their injured players back is once that's happened, that's happened. It's not like you've got to wait randomly until Enzo Fernandez realizes he's not going to have as much time before.
Imagine, right? Just for a minute, let's look into a different universe. When Todd Bowley took over Chelsea, he instead took over Liverpool. Liverpool would have thrived off the investment because they need it right now with a squad. Enzo Fernandez.
With Klopp at the helm as well, with Klopp taking charge of that, like you say, if you have a manager who knows what he's doing, he's a good man manager, as Klopp has always been named to be good with the players, then it would have made a lot more sense.
Honest, he wouldn't be able to, Bowley wouldn't have, if he took over Liverpool, wouldn't have been able to sack Klopp because Anfield would have chopped his head off.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. But going back to the point, Graham Potter, we talked about the issues at Chelsea. Yeah. Graham Potter, is he the right man for you? And if he's not, or even if he is, if you had to replace him, who would you get?
So, after having this discussion, before it, I was quite firm on, I think Potter should stay because I don't think the grass is always greener on the other side. Just because it's not going well at this certain point with Potter, I don't think by sacking him and spending a load of money on sacking him and then bringing someone else in, it's going to just all of a sudden go well straight away. But now after talking about this, and you consider about some of the experienced managers that are out there, such as the likes of Zidane, I don't think Zidane would ever come to Chelsea, if I'm being honest. I think his next job lies international football, in terms of international football, if you were to do it, with the French job potentially, if Deschamps stepped down. But if it were someone like Zidane, or is Pochettino in a job right now? I don't know if he is.
I don't think he's going to Chelsea. He's one of them moral.
Yeah, after being at Spurs, obviously no. But someone of that ilk, of someone who's had experience at the highest level and can manage players when they've got so many of them, with all these once really good players that might have dropped off slightly, then yes, I'd get rid of him.
I hear what you're saying. You're saying
I don't think Rafa Benitez. No. I don't think. My point is, I don't think you just sack him and then not have a plan of who exactly you want in, as Leeds have really done. That's what Leeds did. I don't really think that was a good idea either, because they sacked Marsh obviously after a bad run of form. But you can't really just sack someone without a plan B, because they didn't really have someone who exactly that they were going to get, and they knew they were going to get. They just sacked him, and then they had a few games without a manager. They've got this new Javi Garcia or somebody, I think it is, from Spanish manager. But
he used to play. He used to be Watford manager, was it?
Was it Watford? Right?
But so there's a point that I saw the other day from James Lawrence Olcott. I was watching him, and he said, he was on with Flav on his little podcast he does. And he said that if Chelsea and Spurs could do a deal where they just swap managers, that would be amazing. Because Spurs want to play attacking, attractive football and want a project. That's all the fans want. They don't want to be dull as dishwater like Conte is. But Conte's effective, knows the league, will win you games. Can manage egos. If them two could just flip managers, it would sort every issue out known to man. It does also look like, unless Bowley's waiting for Conte to leave Spurs at the end of the summer, which is most likely going to happen, and he goes for him then. That's also a possibility. I think, for me though, you don't sack Potter yet because I don't think the ideal candidate's out there, but you keep him until the ideal candidate's out there. So for me, his job's gone. No matter what happens now, they might even pick up a little bit. I'd sack him in my, if I'm Bowley, I'm thinking, right, we ignore him now. We just let him get on with whatever until we find the perfect candidate, and he starts looking around. And I think that's what he has to do. Even if it's in the summer, he waits and gets.
Could we then see Potter to England? Then would you be happy with that after this? Or
yes.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
I think absolutely anything to get that dinosaur out of England job. Southgate is horrendous. He is so bad.
Wasting a lot of talent as well.
He is wasting it. And if we don't win anything with this golden generation that we've got now, which, to be honest, I'm saying a statement here, this generation is more talented. I'm not saying it's better as in the team, but it's more talented than the golden generation of England that's known with Gerrard and all that.
I think in terms of the talent, yeah, in terms of if you think Bellingham, Saka, who else you've got? Kane, Trent, who's not even been playing. You've got a lot of talent there. The defense is the defense is the big difference in terms of the quality we've got there. Because if you think we've had Ferdinand, we've had Terry in the past, not having a proper centre half.
I'm not saying they're amazing because none of them are like properly dominant. But Tomori, White, Trent, and Shaw, just off the top of my head,
yeah,
in the air. But that is a good, like, in terms of quality, solid. That's a good back line.
Yeah.
Like, that's off the top of my head, obviously, or Trippier if you want to put him in, but I wouldn't put him in. But
I'd have John Stones over Ben White as well. I don't know about you, but
whoa, nah, Ben White. I'd put Ben White and John Stones together. I wouldn't put. I'd take White over Tomori this season.
I think we need a proper physical centre half. We don't have one of them at the moment who's good. We've got Maguire, and he did fairly well at the last time. But
he was at fault for every goal in the game we got knocked out in. I hate to say it, but he is. Anyway, moving on. Potter, stay or go for you? You never
stay, but if the right candidate all of a sudden appears, say Conte for some reason out of the blue resigns or gets sacked, Conte in or someone of that ilk, but stay for now.
Okay. I think, yeah, I'm basically the same, but no matter what, go.
Yeah, so I do see that. I agree. I don't see him being the leader of this project with Chelsea. With the amount of money they'll be there, you need someone who knows what he's doing. When they get to the Champions League, he'll know the context of the competition.
They need Big Carlo back. Is what they actually need.
That would be a brilliant signing, but
let us know what you think in the comments below. We have rambled a lot today, to be fair.
Yes, big time.
But it's been enjoyable. It's been a good discussion about all things other than Graham Potter. But yeah, so please be sure to like the video, subscribe, let us know what you think in the comments below. We'll see you next time. Peace.